What up, everybody? It's Ponter here. Today I've got a classic game for you on a classic map. The map is Hometown, and it's a 5v5 versus probably the two best teams in the WiC competitive scene in 2008, 2009. Basically when WiC actually mattered, and you can really tell because DC is sponsored, Dignitas is sponsored, and these teams, these are the rarefied heights of players we got here. Basically, in the hierarchy, I always talk about this, but you got your pubbers, clueless, got your casual clans, they don't really know what they're doing, just getting killed in the match modes. Then you got your more serious clans, or I guess clans that aren't necessarily serious, but they have a team of relatively skilled players and who actually care and train together, and that would be like what a shiny was. And then you've got these guys like DC and Dignitas and I guess Coma, but really these two are probably the number 1 and 2 teams depending on the time of day and the map. They went to tournaments, they competed for money, they got sponsors. This is really the golden age of esports. I guess nowadays it's all Fortnite and whatever, but back then people were paid money to play RTS games like World in Conflict, which is pretty incredible. And it's on Hometown, and Hometown, I had to do a map on Hometown. I had to do a cast on Hometown because really this is the map that got me to play World in Conflict. It's your Spielbergian small town that you just get to destroy over and over again with Cold War weaponry. And it's on the cover. When I read a review of the game, they described a match on Hometown, and basically the pitch was you get to nuke a small town in America in 1980, and who wouldn't want to do that? So and Hometown is, we're going to be seeing the best players in the game playing on Hometown, and this is going to be a good lesson on why I think, even though it's the most iconic and well recognized map, and I think out of all the maps people have played Hometown the most, although everybody plays Space Needle, but that's another story, and I'll save that for another video. But this is a hard map to play, and especially for noobs, they struggle. And just, I think it's because the map is so divided. You've got kind of 3 separate areas to fight in, and they're far apart. And when noobs just box their units, and I'm just gonna go here, I'm just gonna go from here to there, or I'm gonna put my spawn over here and I'm just gonna stay here, and they don't work together or support their teammates, they don't play the whole map, it gets really frustrating. So speaking from experience, when I play this in a pub game, I'm just gonna play air, because I know, first of all, it's going to be an infantry battle, and I don't want to do that. To play armor or support without a teammate who knows what they're doing on this map is torture. And just quickly, support players, God bless them, all they care about is getting points, not protecting the armor player. So typical play on this map is, I'm going to drop 2 heavy anti-airs on this side and a heavy arty and a repair, and just horror score in this little area, and then leave the flanks to die. I mean, you can get a lot of points doing that, but you're not going to win games. So what we're going to see in this is the map being played in its entirety. Basically, players are watching this entire zone and trying to control that space and staying back. So another thing I'm going to point out is, for armor, it's very confusing for armor players to know where to put their tanks, because the instinct is to say, I'm going to attack and I'm going to drive across the bridge with all my tanks and attack the enemy, because that's badass. But that's not how you play armor, especially on this map. It's really all about staying, basically having a line of tanks like this on this side, and then a line of tanks like this on the USSR side, and then just drops, and just talk about these two teams. You know, you're going to be seeing some drops on this, and really, this game, I didn't watch the whole thing yet, but this game shows how tight the competition was at the high levels between teams. You know, these guys they know each other's moves. They do exactly the same thing. You know, the timings are all synchronized. And another thing, the switches, the roll switches, because this is a 5v5, you know, we're starting with a double air. The roll switches are critical and also timed. So, you know, double air down the middle from DC. And just to talk about, you know, Llama, this guy was the one who really brought me into the competitive scene. So I knew him before I knew anybody else from Shiny. Funny guy. I haven't talked to him in years. And then, you know, Wizen is just king. You know, all these guys are huge. You know, big names in WiC. You know, and we could learn a lot from their play even now, even though it's a little dated. I would say that just the level that these teams are playing on is just something you can't even hope to see this day and age. And this is for some tournament, I think, some ESL tournament. I don't know. And I think this is the second match in a series. And what else? We got a few more minutes. Yeah, timing attacks. Oh yeah, and just to talk about Hometown again, and this is from the Shiny perspective. I'll try to find a Shiny game on this, but basically, infantry is king on this map because you have this, and look, just pure class and good manners. You know, beautiful, just beautiful. Because of this forest, and this one, you know, infantry just, and then of course the town. Infantry is just all over the place. So you see a lot of dual infantry. Usually you start with double air and try to stuff the other team and like fuck them up. But then you immediately switch to infantry, and then just because you need to cover the whole map with infantry and do drops like crazy. And this map is really all about drops. I think because the distances are so far. You know, the gas station is a swing point. The bridge is somewhat of a swing point, and then either of these points, depending on who wants to pressure what, are swing points. So you'll see drops all over everything, and here we go. We're starting the game. Now, what we'll see first is, let's get the loadouts. It's a double air push, so 2 heavy air groups, and they're just going to go right down the middle and see what they can do. And notice, this is a pretty good loadout, especially if you're expecting a heavy air rush, and it's just more units to spread out. And we got infantry, kind of standard loadout, lots of trucks, and then the 2 heavies and 2 infantry. Now let's watch this.
Just give the order and we'll send in some more units.
We've got a kind of a separate heavy air rush. You know, stroke kind of takes a while to take out that heavy air, and just note how effective this is. You know, killing the transports even though they're empty. That's just preventing the cap. You know, heavy or support has such a tough time covering this map, and then that equals frustration on the part of the armor player, because you know, armor player wants to extend here, support wants to protect the heavies here. There's only 2. He's only got 2 heavy air to do anything. And now, look at these drops. You know, basically as soon as the the cooldown's off, there's, you know, half a dozen drops on the map from either side of the team. You know, defensive drops from DC, more defensive drops from Dignitas, and man, these guys play so well. It's hard to keep track. And here's another funny sync up. So this is a typical play. You want to blow up this front part of the town. You know, these guys are in each other's heads, or they've played a lot of games together. But you know, it's the same thing on either side. You want to clear it.
units soon.
Dignitas is looking good in this beginning thing. They get control of the gas station and they get good pressure, and forcing the laser guided bomb, forcing the scan, and this is just running troops, like just running a couple troops that were done capping up here down to here, forcing so much TA usage, which is great. And then an overextended tank, but he's protected. Note, look at that placement by Energetic of the heavy anti-air, just right by the water to keep him out of the line of sight. And both tank players fighting over the bridge, contesting it, but not suiciding their tanks. You don't have to drive across the bridge to fight it out. Just chill. And we've got some air to the rescue there. That's good communication, and some defensive drops from Llama to ford up the bridge. To ford up the dam. Aggressive TA use on the tanks, and like already a star tank. It's like 4 minutes into the game, he's already got a star. That's great.
Combat ready.
And just the drop pressure. Look at this. Dignitas is throwing drops on that, and they're just pushing hard. You really need to pick a place to attack continuously and force a lot. Luckily, DC's ready for that. They've got snipers all over the place. 3 snipers. They've seen this type of push before, and he's getting troops into the back of the sawmill, and that's the only risk. He's not really messing around with his forest. He looks like he's got his snipers and his paras just to defend. He's going around the flank, and because Dignitas committed a lot to the attacking the dam, he's getting a pretty good, just a good in foothold, and this is going to be a slow burn. We'll see how that plays out. And then DC with the cap on the gas, and it looks like Dignitas on the back foot. This is a fast game, so I think it's going to be decisive. We'll see. It's really that explosive early game is sometimes all it takes, especially when the teams are very equal. And now, look at this coordinated drop. We've got armor players, infantry players, TA going down everywhere. Really nice play by DC. And Dignitas is kind of on they're going down the middle. And it's just really hard to push effectively. You really have to distract and give time for the infantry to get in there, which they're doing. Especially after the first fuel air bombs go down, which you can almost always anticipate in a high level game. There's going to be a fuel air bomb, especially on a map like this, or a map like Seaside, any kind of urban place, and just going for the desperate decaps. Dignitas already realizing that there's a problem, and this push, this is ballsy. This is you're and look, a fuel air bomb is coming down on their own town, because that's how, if infantry gets in there, you have to react somehow. So really, this kind of all-in play, if your push on dam fails, which is a risky play. Personally, I don't like pushing dam from USSR. I like focusing on the gas station and defending the town and trying to swing it around this way. Pushing dam is just asking for trouble because it's so easy for the other team to react. And here we go. Napalming the bridge. This is another just great. You don't have to blow it up. You don't have to blow up the bridge with laser guided bombs, because that's expensive. It's like 20 TA. Just burn the bridge, and it fucks the infantry player. And that's the guy who want infantry and support who want to get into town. If the bridge is just always on fire and you're sitting there waiting, it really is a frustrating thing to do. So and it's cheap, 8 points, good area denial, and look, he's just tentatively going across. Meanwhile, Pure Ball is just deep in there, and here comes another napalm. Why not? But yeah, as soon as DC can take back this town, it's going to be looking good. But man, what a longevity. Like, a push like this is so hard to sustain in town. Finally getting the AA, and it's cut off by Llama, who's just sitting on the bridge. And here we go, the next wave of drops. Looks like Dignitas took back the sawmill.
Heavy air defense, sir.
Defensive drops by DC.
Expect your new units soon.
And looks like some more coming down from Dignitas. And they're still just... Oh yeah, and here comes the drops from Stroke on the top.
Yeah, we got that.
They've got one
So again,
units.
you know, these guys, you can really tell if you have a good team based on the tempo and consistency of the drops. Because I don't think they've missed a drop cooldown yet. And that's just all about TA management and also being aware of that timer as an infantry player. And a skill like that... Okay, here we go. Got a nice little scan.
Send in more units.
DC really likes their scans, apparently, which, you know, it works. You know, a heavy arty might have been better there, in my opinion. Pretty much the same amount of TA for a much better result. Oh yeah, there it goes. Thanks for that. You know, and look, forcing a heavy tank up here, and what is? It looks like.
Your new
Yeah,
units are
so both
combat
teams are
ready.
just doing double inf, and that's standard. You know, infantry is the queen of the battlefield. It is the most important role, especially for a map like this. You just need, and you know, look at just more. That's brutal. So you're gonna lose 2 AA to this, oof,
Standing by to
or
send in
almost
more
dead
units.
AA. Infantry on this map. There's a few maps in this game that are just
Sending in the reinforcements now.
you need dual inf to do well, unless you're just tossing nukes, and that's a legitimate strategy on Hometown, is just do like dual air or something, play defensive, and then nuke town and then push it. That's legitimate, and the kind of the cheaper version is just doing
Your new units
a
are at the
fuel air
battlefield.
bomb. But look at this Dignitas play, you know, clearing up gas station and just keeping pressure in town. And it's hard to get a USSR player out of town if it's much easier to push the USA side as USSR than it is vice versa, just because there's places to hide. AA can hide places, even after it gets wiped out. You know, you can tuck AA. Look at this behind the hill, pretty much anywhere here. Behind these sandbags. Oh, this is a disgusting spot. I hate it. And if you get infantry in there, then you can really abuse it. But it looks like DC has managed to control this forest and push them out of town finally. And they're doing counter drops to the drops that were done by Dignitas. And here, you know, Llama's trying to micro all over the place. He lets the who's gonna take the point, guys? Oh yeah, the infant on the other side. That's good. And this tank, I don't know if that's the same tank, but it's just stayed alive for a long ass time. Although I might have jinxed it here. Cleric gets the kill. Oh, it's so close. He gets away with it, and a nice TA. And now look at just commanding position by DC. You know, their air player, he's shook. He's beat up. And you know, people could bitch about air being super, you know, killing everything all the time, ruining games, and I do that too, but look at this support player, just a line across the whole map. And if you can just keep that shit alive, it's really hard for air to do anything. And this guy, you know, he's probably going to have to throw down a recon or something if he wants to have any game impact at this point. You know, going for the star again. And look, just getting banged from either side. It's tough.
You got casualties.
And yeah, it's looking pretty desperate for Dignitas at this point. Not to, you know, both of these teams are excellent, and I do have some more replays of like high level teams doing ESL games and whatnot. I'll try to find some more. This is a good game to learn from, though. Like you see a lot of good play.
Reinforcements are on the way.
Here we go. This guy's going balls deep. I don't know, sloppy play. on that air. And look, Llama just with the stranglehold in town. Like, nothing's getting past 4 heavy tanks. Just blasting. and like, are they going for the cheeky bridge clap? No, he doesn't even give a shit. He's just going. Their inf is overrun. Flanks are in control. Like, they could probably have scrape enough TA to get a total dom going. And yeah, just sit back and enjoy. And this is why I hate playing inf, is when you start losing as inf is so unforgiving. It's just brutal to be, like, I've lost, I remember playing infantry on this map, probably against Silver for the first time, and just being terrified. And just exactly what happened here happened to me. You know, you lose this, they start creeping in, and oh, here we go, total dom. Or can they get the... No, they can't. Okay. But still, just completely socked in town. There's nothing there. Air players reduced to getting mid-air. That's an interesting choice. Oh, I see. That's somebody else.
Give the order, and we'll send in some more units.
That's their inf player, I guess. I mean, getting a couple mid-air, that's kind of the utility play. I wouldn't do that unless I was facing double air, like double heavy air, killing everything. But sure, I guess that's an okay strategy.
Activating smoke screen.
And yeah, we're just playing them out. Dignitas. Let's take a look at the scores. You know,
Expect your new units soon.
pretty commanding win by DC. And you know, I'm not gonna say who I think is the better team because I was not skilled enough to really. But pure class by both sides. But DC, very good team, and I hope to show some more matches by them. All right, so that's Hometown. Hopefully, some noobs have learned how to play Hometown a little bit better. I doubt it. I'll play some more. I'll do another Hometown game, hopefully on the other side. Anyways, that's it for me. I'm gonna turn off this video now, hopefully. Just gonna leave the game. And yeah, looking forward to getting this up on YouTube. It's gonna be good. Alright, thanks guys.